This is the new BMW iX. It's an all-new electric SUV which is looking to make a big impact on the electric car market with some distinctive styling and futuristic tech as well. But is this car any good? That's what we're going to find out in this review. But before we start, if you want a great deal on your next car, go to whatcar.com. You can just click on the link at the top of the screen there, or look in our description below to find out exactly how much money we can save you. But before you do that, make sure you're subscribed to our channel as well so that you can see all of our other new car reviews. So first, what actually is this car? Well, the iX on the outside is roughly the same size as an X5, and it's an electric SUV rival to cars like the Audi e-tron, the Mercedes EQC, the Jaguar I-Pace, and the Tesla Model X. It isn't based on a fuel-powered BMW, so with the BMW iX3, that is essentially an X3 with a battery in it. But the iX, from the ground up, is electric only, and it's the first all-new electric-only car from BMW since the i3. And BMW has thrown all of its expertise at this as a kind of range-topping EV showcase. So it's got a plush new interior design, loads of tech including 5G and cloud technology, and it's got some plastics reinforced with carbon fibre in the bodywork. We normally see carbon fibre on cars that are particularly light, something the iX absolutely is not. At 2.5 tonnes, the heaviest iX is almost half a tonne heavier than an X5. But clearly, the main talking point of the car is likely to be the styling. Let's be honest, it will split opinions, won't it? Notable features include frameless doors and flush door handles, chunky wheel arches, and plenty more. The iX also has these pretty sleek headlights at the front, and of course, a massive kidney grille here. Now apparently this has self-healing technology that basically means if you get any scratches or marks on the front here, it can actually repair itself if it's left at room temperature for 24 hours, or what the car can do is supply warm air to this bit for 5 minutes to repair it as well. There's Sport and M Sport trims, and if you go for M Sport then you get chunkier styling. Plus you can get 22-inch alloys. Now this interior in some ways is more similar to the BMW i3 rather than newer fuel-powered BMW interiors. So what do you have in here? Well, basically this is a great interior, especially by electric car standards. All these materials feel really, really good quality. They look nice, they feel nice. The only exception might be some of these plastics, which don't necessarily feel quite so amazing, but the overall feel in here is one of extreme quality. And what this interior manages to do is combine the kind of visual appeal that you get from Mercedes EQC's interior with the rock solid build quality that you get in an Audi e-tron. So overall, this really is very good indeed. What's also impressive is the tech that you get with the iX as well. Now you have these two curved screens which are joined together. You've got a 14.9-inch touchscreen here for the infotainment system, and that's joined to this 12.3-inch digital driver display, and the graphics are absolutely fantastic. It's really pin sharp, and this is BMW's latest iDrive system. It's iDrive 8, and overall it is pretty good. You get a responsive touchscreen, and of course one of the things that has made iDrive so good for so many years is having this rotary dial down here, which just means that cycling through the menus, selecting different options is just far easier to do while you're driving, having this physical control rather than everything being on this touchscreen. This isn't perfect though, because some of these menus have quite a lot going on. So if you're driving and you're glancing at some of these menus for the first time, it can be a bit overwhelming, and some of the icons are a bit kind of small as well. But really, this, by modern infotainment standards, is a very good example of in-car tech. Not quite so convinced by this touch panel down here. It looks very nice with this wood finish, but it's just a bit awkward to know whether you've pressed the button, so that is frustrating. And another bigger frustration is that you don't have physical controls to adjust the temperature or the fan speed. So you've only got two controls down here for the climate. Otherwise, you've got to dive into this touchscreen menu. And again, this is just quite a lot going on, isn't it? It would be a bit better if it was all just a bit simpler. And for example, something else, if you want to cycle through the different drive modes, then you go to My Modes down here, and you can put it in Sport, and you get this really nice sport graphic come up, which looks really good, really cool, kind of like a Apple screensaver or something. But if you're running Waze or Google Maps on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto through the infotainment system, then if you just want to change the drive mode, you're stuck on this screen and stuck with that graphic. It doesn't automatically take you back to the navigation, which of course is the thing that you want to look at, rather than this snazzy graphic. So in some cases, perhaps this is style over substance, but overall, this is definitely an impressive interior. It's also a car that's very easy to get comfortable in as well. So you get loads of electric adjustment with the steering wheel, and the driver's seat has loads of adjustment too. And instead of being down here on the side of the seat, BMW's now moved all these controls up, kind of like a Mercedes. The view out's really good as well, and it does feel like a spacious interior too. So similar to the i3, you've got this flat floor all the way through the car, so it means you've got this open bit of space down here. There's loads of storage compartments as well, relatively all right glove box, big door bins, another cubby hole in here. So overall, up front, this ticks a lot of boxes. In the back, it is incredibly spacious here. So I'm just under 6 foot, the driver's seat's in my driving position, I've got loads of legroom. Headroom also really good, even with this sunroof. It feels open, spacious. That's also thanks to having these tall windows as well. So it is really good. And something else that's useful is that because you've got this flat floor, it means that even if you're sat in this middle seat, you've got a comfortable sitting position. It's not like you've got to awkwardly put your legs up to go on top of a lump through the bottom of the floor there. Something else that's good, you've got 2 USB-Cs in front of you here on the back of the driver's seat. And you've also got this armrest with 2 cup holders, and you can very simply pull on this to bring this middle seat down to give you easy access to the boot or give you a ski hatch. So overall, it's spacious back here, it's comfortable to sit in, it's really good. The boot isn't quite as amazing as the rest of the interior. It's actually a bit smaller than what you get in an X5, but you'll still fit 8 carry-on size suitcases there, which is the same as the e-tron, and it certainly isn't stingy for space. The 3 rear seats also fold flat individually as standard, which is useful. It's a 5-seater only though. There won't be a 7-seat version of the iX. Now you might think that with this being designed and built from the ground up as an all-new electric car, BMW might want to make use of this space here, which of course doesn't have an engine in it anymore. So with loads of other EVs, you get an extra chunk of storage under the bonnet up front. But you don't with the iX. You have BMW's first clamshell bonnet, but you can't actually lift this up. If you want to do that, you've got to take it to a BMW dealer, which just seems mad, doesn't it? The only thing you can do at the front here is put your washer fluid under the badge there. Anyway, what's this like to drive? So essentially there are 2 versions of the iX that you can buy. You can get the xDrive 40, which is what we're in, and that gets a 71 kilowatt hour battery. You can also get the xDrive 50, which gets a massive 105 kilowatt hour battery. Now, in the xDrive 40 that we're in, you get 322 brake horsepower, which will help you do 0 to 62 miles per hour in around 6.1 seconds, which is quick, but not as quick as the 4.6 seconds you'll be able to do that in with the 516 brake horsepower xDrive 50. So, really, both versions are quick. The ride quality in the xDrive 40 isn't brilliant though. The Audi e-tron and Jaguar I-Pace are definitely more comfortable than this version of the iX, offering a smoother, more controlled experience. But that's not the whole story, because on adaptive air suspension, which you get on xDrive 50 models, the iX offers a much better ride than the standard car. And as a long-distance EV cruiser, with that suspension, it is really impressive. Another thing that's good in the iX is the brake pedal feel. So in lots of EVs, it can be really grabby or inconsistent and just basically make stopping smoothly really quite a difficult thing to do. But there's no problem at all with that in the iX. The brake pedal feels really consistent, it's really smooth, you know exactly how much pressure you need to put on to stop smoothly. Among EVs, this is probably one of the best brake pedals around. There is another disappointment though. While the claimed range of the xDrive 40 might seem okay, we did a real-world range test on a cold winter's day and only managed to get 177 miles from a full charge, which is less than we managed from an Audi e-tron tested at exactly the same time in exactly the same conditions. So 177 miles, that really isn't very far, is it, by modern EV standards? And it's not like this is a cheap electric car that is probably going to be your second car, is it? This is a massive luxury SUV that is probably going to be most people's only car, and you can only do 177 miles in it. That is disappointing. But to be fair, that is a theoretical claimed range calculated from the fact this iX achieved 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour over a controlled mixed test route of 20 miles in an outside temperature of just 1 degree. But still, one of the main reasons the e-tron is a frustrating EV is because it's fantastic in many areas, but it doesn't have a great range. It's even less efficient than this iX, but it has a bigger battery. So the iX actually looks like it's even worse for range than the e-tron. But again, like the suspension, there is something you can do about this. Go for the xDrive 50 and the claimed WLTP range from its massive battery is a huge 380 miles. It also moves the maximum charging speed up from 150 kilowatts to 200 kilowatts. But if you want the xDrive 50, then that costs more than £20,000 extra on top of what you pay for the xDrive 40, which is loads. Now, the handling ultimately isn't brilliant. So if you're driving this car quickly, it feels very heavy. There's a lot of body lean, it doesn't feel particularly agile, and it's got quite a quick, light steering setup as well. So it doesn't drive as well as an Audi e-tron. But then, to be honest, are you going to be driving this car that quickly around corners that often? Probably not. So what is good is that this light steering is really, really easy and good around town at low speeds. So if you are just using this car to do a few miles in town, do the school run, then it's really smooth, very easy to move, especially considering how big it is. So it's pretty clear the two versions of the BMW iX require two separate verdicts. While all versions have a great interior, the xDrive 40 doesn't ride as well as the best EVs and has a disappointing range. So really, for the money, an e-tron or an I-Pace look like a better choice. Things change with the xDrive 50 though, because the boost in range and the adaptive air suspension you get make the car significantly better and majorly boost its appeal, as long as you can afford it, that is. For more information on the iX, go to whatcar.com, where you can also save a load of money on your next new car. Just click on the link to find out more. But before you go, make sure you're subscribed so you can see all of our other video reviews, and tell us in the comments below, what do you think of the BMW iX?